Position meeting of November 28th. Shall if we do the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we go, if you call the roll, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner Flynn. Present. Commissioner Grella. Here. Commissioner Ranny.
Oh, here.
Hang in there. You're almost to the finish line.
Thanks to Lasky. Commissioner Sawyer Wilson. Commissioner Sullivan.
Here. Delightfully here. Could you proceed to the discussion of this? Sorry.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Earlier tonight, the commission met in discussion session and received information and discussed the following items. We heard a recap of the 2023 municipal infrastructure projects that was presented by Gateway, our engineers. We received information on police in-car and body worn camera contracts. That'll be an agenda item for the meeting on the 12th. And we heard a presentation on materials and information related to solid waste and recycling that will be going out, has been going out to the public for our new contract in 2024. We also received information from commissioners who liaison to various boards. Prior to that meeting, we met in exec session to receive legal advice from the solicitor on a variety of topics. The next regular meeting of the commission will be held on Tuesday, December 12th. That meeting will begin at 8 p.m. in this room. We do have at least one, potentially two budget workshops remaining for the manager's recommended 2024 budget. Those will be held as follows. One is this Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. The other, if we need it, will be on Tuesday, December 5th, also from 6 to 9 p.m. For this commission meeting or any commission meeting, there are different ways the public can participate. You can do so in person. You don't need to pre-register. Simply show up at the appropriate meeting time, sign the slips at the back of the room or the sheets at the back of the room if you wish to speak, or remotely via the Zoom webinar format. You don't need to pre-register. Simply click the link located on the meeting agenda on the municipal website. And if you wish to speak during the citizens' comments or during public hearings, simply use the raise hand feature on Zoom and you'll be notified when it is your turn to speak. Just a note on the budget workshops, they are open to the public. However, public comment is not taken at these meetings. We do take public comment at all of our regular commission meetings.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, community highlights. Commission Vice President Swagger Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Don't forget that Beverly Road will celebrate Beverly Bright Night on Thursday, December 7th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. with holiday treats, Santa, and a tree lighting. And I have it on good information that Commissioner Ranny will be there. On Washington Road, the Mount Lebanon Partnership will present the Mount Lebanon Winter Market and Holiday Celebration on Saturday, December 8th from noon to 5 p.m. in Uptown Mount Lebanon. The event features lots of holiday shopping, farm and food stands, an elf hunt, artists with gift items, plus live music and Santa from noon to 4:30. We'll light the tree at Clearview Common promptly at 5. If you know an amazing volunteer, nominate them for Mount Lebanon's Volunteer of the Year Award presented by the Community Relations Board. Applications are available online at mountlebanon.org. We also still have a few slots open for the Mount Lebanon Residence Academy, which starts January 4th. Details are also online at mountlebanon.org. It's a great program. So if you're new to the community, especially, or have been here a long time and don't feel like you know what's going on, Mount Lebanon Residence Academy. Mount Lebanon has approved a new trash and recycling contract with Westmoreland Sanitary Landfill starting January 2nd. There are some good things about this contract and a few changes you should know. All of Mount Lebanon will have their recycling collected on the same weeks throughout the contract. The first recycling week is the week of January 8th. Then it will be every other week from there. We'll send LIBO alerts to remind you for the first few months. Speaking of recycling, you can now recycle glass curbside. For trash collection, you can leave out one bulk item per week. And Christmas trees will be collected the day before your regular trash day, the weeks of January 8th and 15th, much like leaf pickup. Some things are staying the same. For example, you may recycle an unlimited amount. Just put a green sticker on your containers. Stickers are available at the municipal building. You can still dispose of up to 15 bags of trash. And like always, you can use your own containers for all of it. It's important that you read the flyer inserted in your December Mount Lebanon magazine. They are also online at www.mountlebanon.org/2024 trash. And we will have extras at the front desk of the municipal building. While most streets will be collected on the days you're used to, some streets have changed. So please check the schedule on the flyer so you know when to put your trash out.
Thank you for that important information.
There you go.
Next on the agenda, Junior Commissioner Sarah Hudak.
So for this week's updates, first Thursday, we have another leadership meeting in homeroom run by the homeroom representative. And then now tickets for Lebo's Got Talent Holiday Show are on sale. The holiday show will be on December 6th. And they're now on sale for $8 or can be purchased for $10 at the door. And then my favorite, Eli, the service dog, will be visiting the high school during periods 4, 5, and 6 outside of the library. And the next updates for the upcoming weeks, Monday, December 4th through Friday, December 8th, there will be Keystone testing exam windows, or 10 a.m. starts for those who are not testing. And then also Mount Lebanon will be hosting the SAT this Saturday, December 2nd. And then finally, we're starting a new tradition at the high school. It's called Lebo Legacy Games. And it's a March Madness style bocce tournament. This will take place on the half day before winter break. And you can sign up as an individual and you'll be placed into a team, or you can sign up with a group of people. And the teams will compete during the shortened periods on the half day. And then at the end of the day, everyone will be able to come down to the gym and watch the championship game. And this is really exciting because senior students T. Bell Latif and CJ Korwicki have worked hard since like the last year to set this up. And so it's really exciting to see it get going. Yep.
And what will students do who aren't participating in the tournament?
Students who aren't participating it's kind of like, we have dance day times where some teachers will opt to take their classes to watch the games during the day.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's an
Fun.
opportunity for those not participating.
Is there still a holiday choir concert? There was always something.
Holiday, yes, I think there is. I think the Lebo got talent is an addition.
Oh, good.
So-
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Next on the agenda, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any resident to express an opinion on any topic pertaining to local government. The Commission enjoys hearing from the public on various issues and learning about items to address in the future. If you have specific questions, we will try and answer them at the end of your comments. If we can't, we commit to getting you the answers as soon as possible. When I call your name, please come to the podium to address the commission. Please state your name and address for the record. In fairness, we ask each speaker to share their thoughts for 5 minutes. The community is as good as each person in this room and online. We work together to make this a community that we can all be proud of, and we hope that the dialogue remains respectful. We also appreciate the audience's efforts to refrain from any behavior that is disruptive or might intimidate free speech. First on the list, David Egler.
Dave Egler, 121 Poplar Drive. When I came up here today, I only had really one question, but in typical fashion, I pick up a bunch more comments from the discussion sessions. But my question is, we have a couple public hearings today where we're conducting a public hearing. We are not going to take an official action today. Is that a good assumption? That the passing, in other words, you would have time to ponder your decision and make a decision at a later date.
Yes, we have
Okay.
time to ponder your comments, yes.
Yes, okay, I just wanted to make sure it's the case, because I know in the past, we've had some cases where we've had a hearing in at the same night, so.
Right, like the December 12th meeting, there'll be a budget hearing and a vote that evening.
Okay, sounds good. Comments from the meeting there, I'll take the second one first on the police. With those cameras and the license plates, I know that in the past, a lot of towns had problems with it. Is there any way we convince the Commonwealth to get new license plates, because our crappy plates are peeling The plastic is peeling off. I wonder how well those can read those type of plates.
You might talk to State Representative Miller about the license plates.
I'm gonna be seeing some of them soon, so I will glad to pass that on, but if there's any influence that Mount Lebanon or police could have, because you look at a lot of these plates, whether it be peeling, plastic covering them or whatever, it's hard to read a lot of plates. I'm amazed these guys can even read them, but anyway, that's that. And then as far as the streets, I have a question on the streets. I was asking about Pennsylvania Boulevard. Way back, and believe it or not, in the late eighties, early nineties, the upper, we'll call it Upper Pennsylvania, because Lower Pennsylvania is the red brick, Mount Lebanon brick, and the upper is a different brick. That street was on a list to have reconstruction, full reconstruction done, and it magically disappeared from the list. We're talking 30+ years ago. And I'm amazed 30+ years later, it's still in the same condition, basically, other than a few patching here and there. Now, I know there's the development down the road being done, and I understand there may be something in the agreement that when that new section of Pennsylvania Boulevard is put in, some work may be done on Pennsylvania Boulevard, the upper side. Is that true or no?
No, it's not, there's no relationship between the development that's occurring on what I will call the dead end section of Pennsylvania Boulevard and the existing section of Pennsylvania Boulevard.
Okay, my recommendation again, as it's been the last 3 decades, is the upper part. It has dips in it. I get it. You like to keep your brick streets, but between the asphalt and the grass growing on it, you almost have to get a mower out there sometimes to cut the grass. I would recommend that street be moved up on a priority list. And Mr. Dugwald is still here. He mentioned something about, 40 years ago, 43 years ago, actually, 1980, when Vegler Ramsey, I believe, had put out a referendum to do, I believe it was $3 million in streets, with the voters soundly turned down at the time. So I don't think the voters in the town are as thrilled about doing streets as Mount Lebanon is, but at that time, to give them credit, they did do a really good job in the full depth development, such that we've done a lot of streets since then. But I think when you talk to the public at times on the need of streets, I think a lot of them would say, hey, our streets are fine just the way they are. I'd rather keep my taxes down. I don't feel that way, but just things that I hear from all the people. So I just wanted to pass on, but the engineers do a great job on the streets, and maybe this is a good time at this time to make comments about, I know there's a thing on fees, which I'll get to later, but to me, fees in general, I look at fees in general as a bad idea. I was here when the first fee was put in 1988, sewage fee. And I think at the time there was a discussion about maybe 10 years and then doing away with it. Well, that's what 35 years ago is still here. Our fee was 25 cents initially. 8 years later, you'll hear a theme here, almost doubled to 45. 3 years later, almost doubled to 80. 1 year later, almost doubled to 140. 4 years later, almost doubled to 245. In 2007, where it's existing now, almost doubled again. So it's gone from 25 cents to 405, is what, 16 times increase over from the original. These fees seem to come on board with the intent of, oh, EPA 308, we'll do it for 10 years and we'll get rid of the fee. When they get fees, they never go away. They stay there forever. And I didn't like them then. I don't like them now. I won't like them in the future. And when I'm dead and gone from up above, I won't like, okay? And there's reasons. I mean, as I said at the last meeting, whether it be this fee or the fee, stormwater fee. Now, there's a good example. It was put in, I believe, 2011, voted on to implement in 12. Can I have an extra minute, please? Is that okay?
Sure.
I'll be done in 1 minute. That fee was in 12. Remembering at the time was the commissioners were saying, I don't think there was a sunset provision put in, but
There was a sunset provision that commission voted to essentially get rid of the sunset provision. Because that was supposed to sunset, I think.
I thought it was supposed to be 10 years.
Years?
No, it was 20 years.
20
years.
years, 20 years, but the commission voted to eliminate the sunset clause.
Perfect example. That'll be around forever. And then this new fee coming on. These fees are coming up, they're building up, they're getting higher and higher. I don't have a problem with segregating the funds for accounting purposes or whatever else and having the money to do the work. I'm looking at the funding. I'm saying, don't do it with a fee. You can easily do it in millage. Many towns have millage general library debt. streetlights, many things. You can do the same thing here. General, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, refuse. You can do the same thing. It's a matter of funding.
Something tells me we'll be hearing you commenting about fees a little later on this evening. Thank you. All right, next on the list, Colonel Hoon.
Bill Hoon, 456 Coolidge Avenue. I want to revisit that little thing I was talking about at the last meeting. The incident in the T. We were facing a fellow that was tremendously angry for some reason, and he had a weapon, that lacrosse stick. I wasn't even aware there was an issue until I started hearing the F you, F this, F whatever. And then I closed my book, looked at my wife and stood up. Well, this guy came down the aisle pretty quickly, stood right in front of me, stick in hand, ready to rock and roll. At that point, I knew he was right-handed, but he didn't do anything. He looked at me and he said, "What? Are you worth $2.5 million?" Now, when I said that, and everybody on that train heard that, nobody said a thing, nobody whispered, nothing. There was dead silence. But our interim commissioner here seemed to think that was extremely funny. Well, there were 20-some people in that train that didn't think of anything was funny. Their mouths shut. Not making a move. Because, quite simply, they did not want his attention. If you had been with us that night, Commissioner, and had just erupted in laughter, things would have happened pretty quickly, I think, because he was extremely angry, like I said. And he did have a weapon. And you would be approached by him, and he wouldn't just stop with looking at you.
How did you determine he was right-handed?
What?
How did you determine he was right-handed?
How did I determine
You
his
said
what?
he was right-handed. How did you know?
Fighting pose like this? He's gonna swing like that with his dominant arm.
Ah, thank you.
I take it you haven't done martial arts.
I judo when I was probably 10 years old. It's been a few years.
Okay. The same time, these lacrosse sticks are pretty stout objects, probably about 1.25 inches square. I don't know what wood they're made out of, but they're a hardwood. And they're made to withstand a lot of abuse. The way they use them on the field, they're hitting each other, hitting the sticks, that kind of thing. Those sticks do not break.
Excuse me.
So if a person were to take one of those and start beating on somebody, as would probably have happened here, that would be very serious, quite serious. I wouldn't want anybody beating on me with a lacrosse stick, but for whatever reason, he decided not to hit me with, or try to hit me. So, I think that says a lot about where we are with judgment here. You know, my judgment was to not hit this guy. Let him work it out. He was obviously having significant issues and things weren't working the way he intended. And that's why he just stood there looking at me. And that's why he turned around when I didn't respond and head up the car. So since everybody else was totally silent, he would most likely not attack them. But he would attack somebody laughing because he'd immediately think, oh, she's laughing at me. I'll shut her up because he's angry at the entire world for some reason. I don't know what it was. I have no idea. Well, that's just something I'm saying to warn people that, you know, what some of you folks think is of no consequence whatsoever can be a life or death situation.
Thank you for your thoughts, sir. Appreciate it.
President, if I may, I want to clarify, being at the situation is not the same as recounting a story. And people, I think you misconstrued the other commissioner's chuckle or emotion for something maybe offensive that wouldn't have occurred if that person was at the actual incident. That's not the same thing. Recounting a story and a response is very different than being present in a dangerous situation.
Well, I would hope so.
Yes.
Because if it was not, somebody could have been killed.
Sure, understood.
And that's what we were trying to avoid on that track.
Good job.
Okay, thank you for your thoughts. Let's see, do we have anybody online who wishes to speak?
Yes, we have one person online.
All right, go ahead, please.
Charles, good evening. Please unmute yourself, state your name and address for the record. You will have 5 minutes for your comments. You will hear a tone when your time is concluded.
Hi, this is Chuck Blumenshine, 905 Rue Street, 15243. I submitted comments yesterday on the draft comprehensive plan. I don't intend to go over those comments with you because they're about 6 or 7 pages long. But I hope that you take some time and read my comments. I think that it's quite important to get public input on the comprehensive plan. I don't know how many comments you've received so far, but I think it's important that you take into account all the comments you receive. And I understand that the comments are due on the draft plan on December 8th, and the commission intends to vote on the plan on December 12th. That's 4 days between the time that the comments are submitted and the commission votes on the plan. So my question is, how do you intend to deal with the public comments that are raised? Second question, will they be published along with responses?
Well, I can't address one of your questions, but the other ones I can, where the December 12th is actually a hearing on the comp plan. And the commission's not going to vote on the actual comp plan until the next meeting after that. So it's
Okay.
time for commission to consider residents' comments.
So,
That'd be January 12th or something like that. That it's after the reorg meeting, so whatever, roughly the January 12th.
January 9th, I believe.
January 9th, okay, is the next official meeting.
And I
Beyond
think that was,
reorg.
that was a recent
Yeah.
change, so you're probably not aware of that, but just based on the amount of feedback, we have not received a large number of comments yet on the comp plan, but the comment period's still open, but just because there are some substantial comments that you're aware of, we want some time to review those and be able to implement any of those recommendations.
well, that's reassuring. I appreciate that because I was really concerned that comments would be received and in 4 days, comments would even be read in 4 days. But okay, thank you. And so I really just want to reinforce that I strongly recommend that the commission not vote on the plan until all the public comments are reviewed and addressed. And if modifications are necessary to the plan, those modifications should be made before the final adoption. So, thank you. That's all I have for this
All right,
evening.
Thank you for your thoughts, sir. Anybody else online wishes to speak?
Nobody else.
Anybody else in the room? Citizens' comments? All right, so that concludes citizens' comments. Next is, item 4. Commissioner Flynn, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held November 14th, 2023.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. The opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Item 5, Commissioner Sparkman Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, this is a public hearing on ordinance bill number 5-23, amending the 2023 budget for revenue and expenditures not anticipated in the 2023 budget. The following adjustments are proposed. If you look to the screen, my right, your left, you can see the different amendments that are proposed. The magnifying glass. This ordinance was introduced on November 14th, 2023. I recommend we conduct a public hearing.
All right, we shall open the public hearing. So far, I've got no one on the list who's written something down. Is anybody online who wishes to comment?
Nobody has their hand raised.
All right, anybody in the room who wants to?
I just have one quick comment before Andrew gets up here. No, go ahead. We're in the middle of budget discussions for 2024.
Right.
What we're having a hearing on now are the 2023 amendments, just so people aren't confused. We're not voting on 2024 budget right now. It's just the 23 amendment.
Important clarification, thank you.
Stole my thunder.
So I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Don't take the thunder from
could
the
be
finance
stolen, you
director.
know,
It's
there
very
are
bad.
big storms now. So here to speak on the 2023 budget amendment, like Commissioner Grella had stated, this is only for the 2023 budget. These are for items that were unexpected, whether it be revenue or expenditure. The majority of this year has been expenditure related that were not anticipated as part of the 2023 budget process. We will do the same thing for 2024 in November of next year for the 2024 budget as well, and so on and so forth. So for this year, the amendments that were proposed and introduced last meeting in November have changed from what's on the board, and that's really what I'm here to present this evening. 2 items, 3 total line items, but 2 items have been added. One is for the library elevator repair that needs to happen. Those that have visited the library know that the elevator has been down for a number of weeks. We have authorized that at $42,550. We wanted to make sure that was memorialized. I missed that, so you can just blame that one on me. The timing was right around when I was preparing this, and it should have been on there originally, and I apologize for that. The second item is for the ice rink temporary repairs. This has all been kind of coming in fast. So I just want to explain for the record what is being included in the nearly $200,000 or a little over $200,000 amendment that we're doing. First and foremost are the temporary repairs. The temporary repairs to make sure the ice is up and able to be active is $145,710. Those include installation of taps to make sure things can get in there, the rental of the temporary chiller and installation of that temporary chiller, a heat exchanger for the subsoil so the permafrost doesn't go down and lift the ice. So we want to make sure we protect our assets. So that's included in there. Additional glycol that's needed for these temporary chillers. So that was the tune of $145,000. This budget line item also does include an anticipated another month of rental, just in case. So we're budgeting, you know, hopefully the next item, which I'm about to present here, but this budget number does include another month's worth of rental for the temporary chiller as a budget line item for
And we're
2020.
billed for the chiller by the month. It's not like a half month.
That's correct. That's
All or
correct.
nothing.
So this should take care of 23. So if we have to do another month, God forbid, we have to do another month, that will be on the 24 budget amendment, but that will cover for 23.
Okay.
Okay, finally, the 55,190 is for the permanent fixes to compressors 2 and 3 at the ice center. And so that's what that $55,000 line item is for. So just wanted to make sure I explained what the difference was between what was originally presented in early November to today.
Great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
just another quick note on top of what Andrew's saying. He's got 3 of these marked as emergency repairs. The traffic calming at Cedar and Holly Crest, while it's certainly not an emergency repair, that was brought to our attention, you know, as a potential safety issue, something to make that intersection safer. I think, you know, this commission's been pretty good about putting budgetary requests in the budget and for discussion in the budget. These items that you see here that Andrew's just discussing are things that we did not foresee when we did the budget this time last year. But many of these are emergency repairs, as Andrew discussed, and some of these other ones were things that came to our attention that needed to be taken care of before we get into budget season. So
Yeah, and like I've always said, that we talked about at the budget discussions and other public hearings, I've stated, the budget is an ever changing process in Mount Lebanon, which I think is a good habit to get into, is that you're constantly evaluating your financial position to make sure that you can execute on projects like things that are presented within this 2023 budget amendment.
Commissioners have any other comments? All right. After hearing the finance director's thoughts, anybody else wish to speak at this hearing? Going once, going twice. All right, this hearing is closed. Next on the agenda, item 6, Commissioner Rainey, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public hearing on ordinance bill number 8-23, establishing a fee for the collection of garbage and real estate tax ordinance. Mount Lebanon currently contracts for garbage collection. As a result of higher costs than the recently approved 5-year contract, the commission has decided to assess an annual fee for the collection of garbage beginning January 1st, 2024. The proposed ordinance established the fee at $290 a year for the first year, gradually increasing to $410 in the final year. There is a 2% discount for payment prior to April 30th. The proposed ordinance also contains an exoneration provision and a standard billing and collection provisions. There's also a correlation between the proposed fee and the real estate millage. This hearing covers both items. These ordinances were introduced on November 14th, 2023.
Okay, we will conduct this public hearing. Dave Egler has signed up to speak.
Hey, Becker, 121 Poplar Drive. Am I the only one again?
Yes, well, there may be someone online, we'll see, but
I
in
hope so.
person so far.
Heard my general comments and the appreciation I do have of all of you and the work you do.
Thank you.
I've been with commissioners and working for 45 years of my life. And it's a thankless job. I appreciate what you do. I did 10 years without pay. So I really do appreciate what you do, even though I don't always agree with you. On this.
Right.
Now I can really. Now, like I said, obviously, the majority of the commission and the staff, their opinion of you is to go with the fees, and obviously my opinion is the other way. Now, for some facts. Last year, I paid nearly $700 in municipal tax. Next year, based on the millage change, I'm getting back $58.14. Okay. I'm paying $290 more. That's $231.86 more out of my pocket. That's a 1/3 increase from last year, a third. I'm looking at fees and tax together. I don't care what you call it. It's coming out of my pocket. Okay. So 1/3 increase. That's the largest in history of Mount Lebanon. That is significant. And I'm just the average guy. Let me tell you who the average is and who's getting helped and hurt here. If you own a house countywide, 750,000 or less, you're paying more next year. Anybody above that, you're paying less. That's a simple fact. It's easy to check. Okay. It's almost like the Republican idea. Let's help the rich and, hit the poor. And then last I checked, you're all blue here. So I find that really strange, but that's the facts with the numbers. It hurts. Why not use the idea, go back a few years, like the early 90s when Mount Lebanon did a referendum on earned income tax and real estate tax. They put it out to the voters. Let them have a say. Let's do a referendum. Let's let the public decide. At that time, the first time they did the vote, they voted it down. Why? Because there was bad information sent out to the seniors. And the seniors were against any raise of tax. They didn't realize that they actually would pay less. Second time out, they voted for it. Okay. For 2 years, it was revenue neutral, meaning whatever went up in real estate, which was 2%, it went from 1 to 1.2. That increase in dollars had to be reduced equally in real estate tax. That went over 2 years because of timing. Try putting a budget together with your two largest revenue sources with zero growth. That's what needed to be done back then. And the public wasn't really eager to even do it at that time, but once again, it was revenue neutral. This is not even close to revenue neutral. The amount, you should be tripling the amount of reduction if you want it to be neutral. But bottom line is, I say get rid of the fees. There's no advantage. You're gonna have extra costs in the mailing, the billing, everything. more work involved. Why not leave it in the taxes? As far as people itemize, can't itemize, you can't take a deduction for fees, you can't for taxes. So each time we do this, it hurts the people who itemize. I heard comments made of what good this fee thing is. Every item listed was good for the municipality, not for the taxpayers. So it's the other way around. I'm willing to sit down and talk to anybody. I've been doing this type of thing and dealing with budgets and fees. I was here for that first fee. I was against it, not in a position to stand up and say anything about it. Now I'm in a position to say something about it. Fees are a problem. I don't want to hear about California and New York do it that way. There's two states that's a good example you don't want to be like. I don't want to hear that other towns are doing it. When I was here, other towns would call us and ask, what are you doing here in Mount Lebanon? Not the other way around. So, once again, I see this as a bad idea. From my experience, it's bad. I don't care what you're being told. I will go to my grave. There's nothing you could say tonight that'll convince me this is the way to go. That's how strong I feel about this. And I'm speaking for everybody out there who has a house worth $750,000 or less, which guess what? That's our ward. That's the whole neighborhood. There's a select few who are getting the benefit here. The rich, the commercial, boy, they won the lottery. Commercial don't have to pay anymore for this garbage. That's great. But there's a reason for taxes and spreading it out. Same with the school tax. I'm a senior now. I'm not complaining about paying the school tax. Because when my kids were in school, the seniors paid for it then. That's the way it works. Spread it out and absorb it. Right now, we're getting away from that. So, once again, anybody who cares to discuss, I'm available 24/7 now. Okay, I'm retired. I don't have a life anymore, okay? If anybody wants to talk about it and get any ideas, I've got a memory of a sworn woman. I have a good long-term memory, so I'll be glad to share it with you. Thank you.
I just want to make a quick comment on Dave's comments. I'm not going to comment on whether a fee is better or worse than taxes. You know, certainly you express your opinion. One of the issues I've had in terms of how we've presented this, and even today in today's agenda, you'll see that we talk about a reduction in taxes correlating to the additional fee that is being proposed for the garbage collection. It's important to understand that the tax reduction is not tied dollar to dollar or dollar for dollar to the garbage fee, right? So like looking at it and say, hey, the tax reduction or the proposed tax reduction is going to result in X number of dollars, but the increase for the garbage is Y number of dollars. They're related, but it's not a dollar for dollar, right? The tax reduction comes based on all of the things that we look at for the budget that we're currently looking at for the budget and saying that the things that we are adding into the budget and taking away from the budget for this next budget year, managers recommending a certain decrease of taxes that relate to all of that. We decided as a commission, or we are proposing as a commission, to pull that garbage fee out in general. So again, it's not a dollar for dollar. It wasn't meant to be, let's pull out, $5 of garbage fee, $5 of tax revenue. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, because I know we've got some confusion even from other residents, because I think the way that this is presented so close to each other every time we talk about it.
And I had one comment to say, I've heard from many residents that it's not equitable, the fee structure, it's not equitable. And I agree that it's not equitable. I do, but I still believe it's the best path forward, because this piece is just an outside service that a vendor's providing, and they've raised our costs by 30%. It's a huge, huge jump. It was already one of our largest costs in the budget, and we have almost no control over what that cost is going to be year to year. They're going to continue to raise it every year. So the alternative I see is to continue to raise taxes every single year to match what our vendors are raising. And then in 5 years, when this contract's up, it could be even much higher than that. And that's going to be a very high tax increase to absorb. And equitable is a tough one. It's a very tough one to swallow, but just because this is beyond our control, it's an outside service, and really what the municipality is providing is a pass through of that service. We can negotiate better rates than individuals could do on their own. And we can also provide some customer service leverage because we're a large entity, but it's a third party service that's gone up a lot. sucks. It sucks.
Any other commissioners have any comments? All right, do we have any residents online who wish to speak?
Nobody online.
All right, anybody else in the room who wants to speak? Our finance director is coming back up.
Another one.
Hey, you're gonna hear from me, in the next couple days. I just wanted to speak specifically to the mechanics of how a stormwater fee, a solid waste fee will work. So we are gearing, as you'll see in the next public hearing for the stormwater fee, is to team this up so that it's one bill for the residents. So it'll go out on February 1st. There'll be a 3-month discount period, which is extended from a current for the solid or for the stormwater fee, which is only 2 months. It'll be a 3-month discount period. We're also giving a 7-month or a 6-month face period. So bills will go out February 1st. Face amount or the non-discounted amount will be due August 31st. Normally you had 4 months, so we're extending that period. What we're trying to do is save costs, but also not force people to pay quarterly. In those types of things, to give you 8 months to pay the face bill. It will all work into our same collections that we do now for stormwater. You will be able to pay together one check, online, in person, or by mail. You'll also be able to do it all online and separate out so you can pay individually. So if you want to pay stormwater 1 and then pay refuse at the end, so on and so forth, you can do that. All those options will be available for people. It will also be turned over to delinquent collections similar to we do now for stormwater. So those we're mirroring it all together with stormwater fee. Notices will be sent out after face period. Or I'm sorry, after discount period and after face period. So there's 3 possible notices if you don't pay in those 2 time periods. So you'll get your initial bill, one after discount and one after face period, that you'll get notified that you have a balance in your stormwater and or solid waste fee. So those are the mechanics. We have a brand new software they'll be releasing with this. This will be the first collection. Will also be the same software you'll be able to pay your real estate fee. Taxes on for both school district and the municipality. So all 4 either fees or taxes will be able to pay through the same software. So you'll be able to set up accounts, see all your bills under one, so on and so forth. Trying to streamline it as much as we can. Yes.
And if you don't pay, I had a letter from a constituent today concerned about the way this is handled in other townships. And that their garbage was not collected if they didn't pay the fee. Does that happen here, or how do you handle people who are delinquent and refuse to pay?
That will not happen here. So all trash will be picked up. We will do the same delinquent procedures we do now for stormwater. We will do for the solid waste fee. It will go to our collection agency, which is Jordan Tax Service, who we use for our delinquent collections. Proper notification will go out and will be eventually collected at the time of sale of your home, or if it gets delinquent enough, which these fees won't get delinquent enough that you're going to be getting into sheriff sale type situations, but will be a property record of note so that if a property does transfer in the interim, we will get those fees eventually with interest and penalties accruing all that time in collection costs.
Thank you.
Finally, I did want to mention that if you do the simple math, I did want to make sure this was on public record, that we will be doing the $290 fee. All of that money collected will go into a separate fund dedicated just to solid waste, which is refuse and recycling fees. So anything that's built in there, part of the fees built in is administrative costs. So if we have savings there, it'll all be dedicated to solid waste and paying that contract for that year. If there happens to be any excess, it will be used, but it will be minor. It will also build in the delinquency rate as well into that fee as well. So we plan on, that's all we're doing is paying the solid waste fee. It will be shown on our books that way and budgetarily. So both in our financial statements and our budget, it will be presented that way. So if anybody has any questions or would like to see that, I am more than happy to share that with.
Thank you. Commission have any other questions for our finance director? Right, thank you. All right, having heard that presentation, the last chance, anybody want to make a comment at this hearing? Going once, going twice, all right. This hearing is closed. Item 7, Commissioner Grella, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public hearing on ordinance bill number 9-23, amending the stormwater fee billing and collection procedures. Mount Lebanon currently assesses a stormwater fee, which is billed and collected annually with an option for large properties to pay every 4 months. The ordinance changes the billing method to just an annual billing. The ordinance also established February 1 as the billing date, April 30 as the end of the discount period, and August 31 as the due date at face. The ordinance changes will align the billing and collection with that of the garbage fee. The ordinance was introduced on November 14, 2023.
All right, we'll conduct a public hearing on this. Dave Egler, come on down.
121 Poplar Drive. The question I had has already been answered on the stormwater about the sunset thing.
Okay.
May I ask, Mr. Silverman to have less than 1 minute to respond to what the two commissioners said?
Well, it's your 5 minutes.
Well, I'm usually geared towards the comment, but just, I totally understand that it's not supposed to be dollar for dollar. And I understand that, but most people don't understand that. And the bottom line is, if that's the case, there's a difference. Backdoor income from millage. It needs to be explained to the public why that's needed. One big item in there is that fire building, $1 million. That's the biggest piece in there. Justify it. I mean, personally, I say, go to the COG, see what they can do. Go to the county. Why isn't the county putting all the money up and build it there? Give them the land. There's other options, but that's why you have that increase, mainly because of something like that. So bottom line is, have the public justify, or you, the commission, justify to the public why it's not dollar for dollar. Once again, when we did that, I explained about the real estate earned income tax. It was revenue neutral. That's the only way that people let it go through, because they knew it was revenue neutral. This is not. The comment about the fees and such, I've talked to numerous people. They don't understand. When you sit down dollar for dollar and say to them, what are you paying now? And you get that figure and you tell them what they're going to be paying, they almost go crazy. You gotta be kidding me. Why don't we just raise the taxes? That's the comment I get unanimously once they see what the numbers are. And I told you what my numbers are. When I found out it was a 33% difference, once again, call it what you will, 33%. That's there for life. Okay? Make people understand. They're just going off the top of their answers. You need to sit them down and say, give me your numbers and show you, and I'll show you what it is, and I'll tell you what it is, and trust me, you will get a different answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to comment at this public hearing? Anybody in the room? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I just want to make a note on the stormwater fee in general. This is something that has been very successful for this municipality. We've completed a lot of projects, just talking with the engineer and the finance director. We've done more than, or close to $12.5 million worth of stormwater projects over the last 10 years. Mount Lebanon is a leader in this area, and our municipality is more sustainable because of that. And I think it's really important. Stormwater is something that's often out of sight, out of mind, but it has, or it is very impactful. When we started talking about, at least as long as I've been on the commission, going back 2018, we had some pretty serious rainfall events, which caused downing of trees, flooding in many homes. We did a project to help alleviate some of the flooding in the Fourth Ward. But it's important to understand even something like ice spots. We had something like 200 ice spots across the municipality just a couple of years ago, and part of the stormwater fee goes to reduce that. We now have less than half of those things. And I think in one situation, we had somebody talk about on Shady Avenue, the ice spot had actually hopped the driveway and froze their car to the driveway. That's how bad it got in some of these situations. So the stormwater fee goes to pay for things like that. Again, stormwater, sometimes sanitary, oftentimes they're in the ground, out of sight, out of mind, but these projects are very practical. It's kind of government 101, and it's really important. And that fee has allowed us to again, make our municipality, in my opinion, a more sustainable place.
And we've certainly heard that, where the fire department gets fewer calls from flooded basements, again, as we've tried to address these issues over the last few years.
A lot of it's because our infrastructure is so old. This is a nationwide problem with old infrastructure. You have to start replacing it, and we're doing that, fixing it.
We're at the top of the hill here, and
Yeah.
we need to be
That's right.
stewards of our environment. We need to be good stewards.
Agreed.
Alright. Any other comments from either the audience or online? Going once, going twice, all right, this hearing's closed. Item 8, Commissioner Flynn, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introduction of ordinance bill number 10-23, establishing compensation for employees for 2024. This ordinance establishes the pay rates and levels for employees, including those covered by collective bargaining for 2024. It also sets hours of work and overtime, longevity, and fringe benefits. Mr. President, I introduce ordinance bill number 10-23.
Thank you. Item 9, Mr. Sparker Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a consideration of resolution number R 16 23, authorizing the submission of a grant application to the local share account fund. The municipality, for the benefit of its citizens, wishes to submit a grant application to Commonwealth Financing Authority's local share account fund, which provides the distribution of gaming revenues through the Commonwealth Financing Authority to support projects in the public interest within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The municipality is requesting $1 million in funds for the fire training facility, which will be situated at the Public Works facility located at 1250 Lindendale Drive. The facility will provide a training location in the municipality for the Mount Lebanon Fire Department and could also serve as a recruit training facility for some of the 41 fire departments serving the 23 municipalities in Western Pennsylvania. The facility previously received land development approval from the commission. There is no required municipal match for this grant application. I move to adopt resolution number R 16 23.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, let me just get this straight. We're asking for $1 million to cover a project that's
Uh-huh.
been in the capital improvement plan for years, and there's like no strings, no matching? All right, I like this line item. Wait, more of these, please.
I think she's gonna vote yes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 10, Commissioner Rainey, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introduction of the 2023 comprehensive plan and set the public hearing. The Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code requires local government entities to update their comprehensive plan every 10 years. In 2022, Mount Lebanon engaged Patrick MTR to provide consulting services related to the update of the comprehensive plan. The draft plan document was published on ascendlebo.com in October and is available for public comment and review. At the December 12th, 2023 meeting, the commission will hold a public hearing on the 2023 comprehensive plan.
Yes, we'll set the public hearing for December 12th, 2023. Item 11, Commissioner Grella, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of an appointment to the Hospital Authority. Todd Zariga's term on the Hospital Authority expires December 31, 2023. The commission thanks him for his service. I move to appoint Dr. Anita Shrikamaswaran of Jonquil Place to a term effective January 1, 2024, ending December 31, 2028.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 12, Commissioner Flynn, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration to ratify approval of the installation of a temporary subsurface heating system at the ice rink. The Mount Lebanon Recreation staff became aware of a problem with the ice rink when the system was not cold enough to support ice. The rink was closed and extensive repairs were necessary. To minimize the amount of downtime for the rink and impact to the users and the municipality and pursuant to Administrative Code Section 1-155 and a declaration from the municipal engineer, the municipal manager authorized ABM Building Solutions LLC to furnish the materials and perform the required repair work to install a subsurface heating system at a cost of $52,187. The system is needed to prevent heaving damage to the rink caused by subsurface freezing temperatures while temporary measures are in effect to provide an ice surface.
Mr. President, I move to approve the installation of a temporary subsurface heating system at the ice rink in the amount of $52,187 as authorized by the municipal manager.
Second.
The motion has been moved in second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 13, Commissioner Smucker Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration of the expenditure list for October totaling $5,076,597.86. I move to approve the expenditure list for October totaling $5,076,597.86.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 4, Commissioner Rainey, please.
All right.
14, sorry, not item 4.
I ask that the reports be received and filed.
And they shall be, and we are adjourned. Can't believe that.